Every smartphone in our pockets, every artificial intelligence chat application, and every supercomputer managing global data relies on a single continuous input, the semiconductor microchip. Without an uninterrupted supply of these components, the modern global economy stalls. Currently, the supply chain keeping those components flowing is highly concentrated, relying heavily on a few key overseas manufacturing nodes. As export controls tighten and the technological competition between the United States and China escalates, that concentration has become a severe vulnerability. Securing these systems begins at the source: raw, unrefined critical minerals extracted from the earth, specifically materials like copper, zinc, and nickel, which form the physical baseline of the hardware. In December 2025, the U.S. Department of State launched a multinational framework designed to secure access to these exact materials and the manufacturing chains that follow them. It is called the Pax Silica Initiative. Driven by U.S. Undersecretary Jacob Hellberg, the framework establishes an economic security alliance among more than 24 partner nations. By linking trusted governments and private tech firms, the initiative aims to build a parallel supply network for AI and chips, insulating Western economies from adversarial choke points and ensuring consistent access to advanced computing. In April 2026, the Philippines formally joined that network. The immediate result of that partnership is a planned golden node located within the Luzon Economic Corridor, connecting Subic Bay, Clark, and Manila. This map shows the footprint of the planned economic security zone. Spanning across New Clark City in Tarlac, this designated area will act as the first AI-native industrial acceleration hub. At 4,000 acres, or roughly 1,600 hectares, the space is the equivalent of more than 2,000 football fields dedicated entirely to global tech infrastructure. It is zoned to centralized technology firms, research institutions, and advanced manufacturing capabilities into a single, cohesive ecosystem. Integrating so deeply into the global AI supply chain offers the Philippines a massive influx of capital. But the project's physical footprint forces a difficult evaluation: whether this hub provides a sustainable industrial future or a costly sacrifice of local land and resources. The Philippines is the fifth most mineralized country in the world. Beneath its soil lies an estimated $1 trillion in untapped mineral reserves. Those reserves are rich in copper and nickel, the precise critical inputs required to manufacture semiconductor chips and power batteries for clean energy infrastructure. Following Indonesia's 2020 ban on raw nickel ore exports, allied nations had to secure a new primary supplier. The Philippines absorbed that demand, quickly becoming the world's largest exporter of raw nickel ore. Beyond the raw earth, the country sits directly on major Western Pacific trade routes and hosts a deeply established semiconductor and electronics assembly sector. Electronic products already account for more than half of all Philippine merchandise exports, supported by a highly trainable IT BPO workforce. The state is actively leveraging these assets. Through the National AI Strategy Roadmap, the government is steering policy to position the country as a regional technology powerhouse. To secure foreign capital, the government is offering aggressive fiscal incentives. Firms locating in the Pax Silica Hub can register for Tier 1 benefits under the Create More Act and receive lease grace periods from the Bases Conversion and Development Authority. With $1 trillion mineral wealth, established manufacturing logistics, and extensive corporate tax benefits, the Philippines functions as a primary anchor for the Pax Silica supply chain in the Indo-Pacific. This chart tracks the potential financial windfall. Estimates show the alliance could draw up to $70 billion in new foreign direct investment. This capital injection is projected to generate up to 190,000 highly skilled jobs for local engineers, developers, and technicians. The strategy is designed to move the domestic economy up the global value chain. Rather than mining raw ore and immediately exporting it for other countries to process, the minerals will be refined locally. Those refined materials will then feed directly into domestic manufacturing lines, assembling and packaging finished semiconductor products on Philippine soil. The final tier of this upgrade involves establishing gigawatt-scale data centers locally, allowing the country to capture the highest value in the digital economy by hosting the computing infrastructure itself. Executing all three stages, refining, manufacturing, and data hosting, elevates the Philippine economy from a supplier of basic raw materials to an integrated producer of advanced technology. However, hosting AI infrastructure extracts a severe physical toll. Supercomputers demand massive amounts of electricity, placing immense strain on the national power grid. If grid capacity cannot outpace the demands of the data centers, everyday citizens will find themselves competing with international tech firms for electricity, threatening widespread price hikes. Meeting that aggressive energy demand quickly often leaves governments with few options, forcing an increased reliance on colluding fossil fuels like coal to keep the servers running. The hardware also generates extreme thermal heat. To prevent failure, data centers require millions of gallons of water for continuous liquid cooling systems. Central Luzon is already grappling with the effects of El Niño. Funneling regional water supplies into industrial cooling threatens to severely deplete groundwater reserves in an area that already experiences acute water stress. Finally, dedicating 4,000 acres to industrial development accelerates land conversion. Agricultural groups argue it will displace farming communities, threaten local food security, and uproot marginalized populations. The physical requirements of sustaining a virtual AI economy, power, water, and land, threaten heavy local tolls. Integrating so deeply into an explicitly US-led technology framework also carries geopolitical weight, placing the Philippines directly in the economic crosshairs of the ongoing US-China tech dispute. Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. emphasizes that Pax Silica is strictly an industrial venture designed to increase national revenue, not a military alignment. This graphic summarizes the final ledger. On one side is the leap: billions in investment, 190,000 high-tech jobs, and a transition to advanced manufacturing. On the other side is the gamble: severe grid strain, water depletion, agricultural displacement, and geopolitical exposure. The Pax Silica Initiative confirms that the Philippines holds the assets required to power the next generation of global computing. The question now is whether the nation can secure its economic rise without compromising the communities and resources that define it.